Hello, you've reached the Hustle Hotline. I'm Layla Palmer, and this is the official career Q&A series of Heart to Hustle. You bring the questions, I bring the answers. Hi, I'm Layla Palmer, and this is the Hustle Hotline. How is my lighting? Could it be better? We're going to say that this is okay. Heart to Hustle is a podcast that I host and produce and edit and all of the above, where I dig into the passions behind people's careers. It's where passion meets purpose, and I interview people who try and lead their careers with the things that they love most so that they can live a life that's worth living and not just clocking into their 9-to-5 until basically they die. The Hustle Hotline is just like a career Q&A bonus episode series that I came up with to have a little bit more one-on-one time with my audience. I'm a student. I've been there. I've been in the shoes of people who are wondering what the heck to do with their careers, what path to take, what degrees they need, should they even go to, college or university. I've been through all of that. Internship, jobs, quitting jobs, classes, not doing well in classes, maybe changing a major. I have some experience in a little bit of all of those things. So I'm just here to give my advice from someone who's been there and who's also a fellow Gen Z who gets it. Because Gen Z gets a lot of flack recently, especially in the professional landscape. And I figure that this is just a good opportunity to give us a little bit of a leg up, some advice, some tips and tricks. Yeah. So the main point of the Hustle Hotline is that you can go to my SpeakPipe account. A link will be in the show notes, but there's this website called SpeakPipe. You, the listeners, can send in voicemails, anonymous or include who you are. Either is fine. You can ask career questions. So we're going to go through one of those today as just like an intro episode to what the Hustle Hotline will look like now and in the future. Okay, so this first voicemail is a little bit interesting. So let's hear our first ever Hustle Hotline voicemail.
Hi, Layla. My name is Izzy. I'm the type of person who gets super duper passionate about things, and then I do them all the time. And I usually find ways to bring the things that I'm passionate about into my career setting, my work setting, and things because they're things that drive me forward. But I don't want to get burned out in doing them. So how do you suggest balancing bringing the things that you love into your workspace without ruining them in a way that doesn't make you want to do it anymore? Thank you. Love your work. You're amazing.
Okay, thank you, Izzy, for calling in. That's a great question, and it's something I've struggled with myself. I haven't really done that great of an introduction. I'm Layla. I go to school at Emerson College. I'm about to graduate, actually. And I have been in the same situation of your career and then something that you love doing that's a hobby or a passion project or anything in that realm. So actually, my career in podcasting began as a hobby / passion project. In high school, I was a sophomore, didn't really start taking it seriously until I was like a senior in high school. I had a series called Hollywood Hero. I did 2 seasons of that, and that was like big passion project and something that I basically fell in love with and just was obsessed with doing, and was lucky enough to make podcasting and audio stuff my career. I got an internship at a state agency in Boston at the end of my freshman year at Emerson, and that was also for audio and podcasting. And I'm still doing that to this day. I'm coming up on 3 years. So I have been able to transition from passion to career. However, within that, it is super, super tough to not burn out, I guess. For me, it was less of a burnout and it was more of a losing my passion. I started to not do podcast and audio stuff on my own for me, and it ended up just being something I did for work, and I didn't like that. It was a really slippery slope. Eventually, I did get out of that rut, but it wasn't until like probably a year later, and it was tough because podcasting started for me as a passion project, as a hobby, as something I just liked to do. At that internship, and that I was able to get paid for what I loved to do. But within that, there's a lot of difficulty separating the two, separating what is passion and hobby and stuff that I want to do on my downtime to enjoy, and then what is 9-to-5 workday related stuff. And when they're so deeply intertwined, especially in terms of like, at least for me in podcasting, it was all just audio podcast stuff. So they're so deeply intertwined. And when I'm in wind down mode and want to, produce podcasting stuff for myself, then I feel like I'm in work mode because it's the exact same thing I do for work. So I would say if you're looking to just fully separate the two, the first thing I would recommend is to just do things in different spaces. Another thing that has helped me in the past is to honestly have a schedule. So if, you're working 9 to 5, or maybe you're part-time and you're working like less hours in the day, having different days of the week where you do your work and where you do your hobbies is super, super helpful in terms of just like separating them mentally. I've had a few guests on Heart to Hustle, the main series. Sorry, shameless plug. A few guests on Heart to Hustle have talked about this, about the work-life balance and then burnout as a whole. It's really tough. And I don't think it's something that anyone ever fully masters. I am actually, like a few weeks ago, I was on the verge of burnout myself. And I think once spring sprung and the sun came out and the temperature went up, I was like, fine, I felt better. But it's really easy to get yourself caught in that rut of just like, you don't want to do anything, you're unmotivated, and then everything feels like a chore. For the sake of our mental well-beings and, our hobbies and our mind not feeling like chores, we really need to like separate physical space, do work stuff at work, or if you work from home remotely, do that in your home office or go to a coffee shop or something. And then your hobby stuff, if you're like me and you like to really be on the couch, do all your hobby stuff on the couch. Or if you're someone that likes to do a lot of their work from bed and you're really productive that way, no, I don't really recommend that because then like we get some sleep problems that get kind of wishy-washy in there. But do your work from bed, but do not do work and hobby work in the same spot. I would not recommend that. And I'm not an expert. Like I just said, I am someone who has struggled with this and still struggles with this. It's kind of just a learning curve. You have to figure out what works for you. But the best thing I'll say is to just make a physical barrier. Yeah. Physical barrier. And I guess the other thing would probably be just like have a set time for you to do hobby stuff and not just when you're bored, because then it could feel like, if it's scheduled into your day, it can make things a whole lot easier. And then I would just say don't work when you don't need to be working. When you don't need to be working, if it's not in your workday, that time is for you to wind down and to reconnect with yourself and your hobbies and the things you love doing on your downtime, not working. And that's a lot easier said than done. Like having an internship that is remote and like, I have the Outlook and the Teams app on my phone. Like after hours, it can be hard to not check your email, answer an email really quickly. Like that stuff's really tough. But you have to create boundaries with your job and also with yourself. Like it just is healthy to have the boundary, physical and mental boundary between hobbies and work. So yeah, I don't know if any of that made sense. I think that's going to be all for today. Hustle Hotline episodes are going to be really bite-sized. They will be video like this, hopefully every time, but they're going to be really bite-sized, really just like quick and dirty advice for you to take away. And if you want to be featured in an upcoming episode, then I highly recommend going to the link in the show notes and sending in a little voicemail. You can include your name. You can include any information you want about yourself that will help me answer the question better. And yeah, so if you liked this podcast, be sure to give us a rating and a review because us indie podcasters, it's rough out here. Okay. And anything helps. Other people find the podcast. You leave a comment, follow us on Instagram, Heart to Hustle Pod. All the things will be in the show notes. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.